Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to the space. I'm Shemekka Ebony.
And what's going on, everyone? This is Michael Stewart-Isaacs. How's everyone doing in Sunday Stacks land?
You are tapping into another episode 11 in season 3 of Sunday Stacks. And if you are listening in on a live podcast network, thank you so much for your support and your partnership. If you are on the replay on YouTube at sundaystacks.com, thank you for your support and your partnership. Just know at any given time, if you comment on any past episodes or even this week's episode, we are paying attention and we will talk back. So let's engage, let's talk. I'm excited about this episode as we are still heavy in the Women's History Month and all these great things are going on. So stay tuned, buckled up. Know that this is a time in the season where you can stack up with intention. With Sunday Stacks, we're here week for week to build your capacity in the areas of family, community, and company. And we share our lived experience and professional expertise in these areas as well. And how we're doing it, we're showing you better than we can tell you. So let's not miss a beat this week. If you are tapping in for the first time, know that you are welcome to continue this journey with us for the long game. Check us out on our social media. You can tap in at Shemekka Ebony on many platforms as well as ShemekkaEbony.com, and let's discover talking together. So when we kick it off with how's it stacking, we always check in with each other how our week is stacking up. I want to know from you, Michael, how's it stacking for you this week?
What a week I have been having. Oh my goodness. So for those who keep up with the show, we've been traveling. We just got back from Las Vegas last week. Shout out to Vegas. So being back home, it's always nature of regrouping. And for me, I ain't gonna lie, I've still been on a thousand this Women's History Month, spending time with some phenomenal women, particularly again at the Women's Women of Power event in Las Vegas that held by Black Enterprise. It was an amazing event. We've
Mm-hmm.
been getting our posting out, so thank you all for being patient with us. So definitely check out all our social platforms. So really just getting that content out to catch up, but really just focusing on what we talked about last week, Vegas wisdom and just the
Right.
gems that we had. And it's just been living in my spirit, y'all. But this week was a week always of focusing on family, community, and company. And for the family side, I had the pleasure of getting my boys the covenant haircuts. Yes, going to get the haircuts with the sons is always a chore. We take time to drive a little bit away so we can connect with family members. They actually get their haircut by our favorite barber, our brother-in-law, as Shemekka say, brother in love. Yes, Mr. D Mac. Shout out to him. And we've been going to him for a few years, cutting our son's hair, getting to know, time to spend with their uncle. Always trying to explain to my son, this is your uncle. This is your mother's husband, mother's sister's husband. Like trying to give them all those details to really spend time. It's been a pleasure. Then I came to find out my brother's ready to retire. My brother's ready
Right.
to. So then I had this thought, and I wanted to bring it to the show. Just talking to the fellas out there, that moment where you never think that you're gonna have that breakup with your barber, like your barber and you're gonna go a different way, and then like, what do you do, right? Because we all know how covenant. Once you find your person, like a covenant experience to
So,
to find your person. So this has been my son's person to take him to their uncle and get their haircut. So now it's like, all right, we got to find a new thing to do. But he gave me time. He gave me heads up, which much respect to his professionalism, giving us heads
mhm.
up to know like he's about to close his doors and look out retirement respectfully. He's been done a lot of great years. But wanted to just shout him out. Just enjoyed so many times. You may see some photos from past. If you're a follower of our social media, you'll see some photos in our brilliant bunch just
Right.
highlighting our family and even celebrating him this past few weeks back. We were celebrating his 50th birthday. So shout out to D Mac. We appreciate you and I wish you the best in retirement as it's drawing near. Another part
Mhm.
of just retooling after coming back last week from Vegas and getting back in tune with the family, making sure our sons stay fresh because they had some cool things we'll touch on later that they had to get into this week. But also just for myself personally, it was a moment of building better team connections this week. And when I say that, I mean I had to really rely on my team, y'all. my whole team was traveling. We were all in different states. Some people were at South by Southwest. I was doing my Vegas thing. I had other people here and there for their different operations. And we had to figure out a way to like Voltron form and make sure everything was still going good on all the levels of our business. And that was challenging, to say the least. But just to have the moment to regroup and realize that you have people that got your back and we all have common interests, it was a lesson for me because normally as an entrepreneur, I've been what they call a solopreneur, where I've been on relying only on myself to get things done. But now that I have teams that I can lean on for things, it feels a lot better. Even me and Shemekka work together, and just knowing that I can lean on her or I can be of support to her, it just changes the dynamic. So this week has just been a moment of building better and team connections and really seeing how they can grow for you. So I'll stop there. But let me ask you, Shemekka, how's it been stacking for you this week?
Oh, this week has been stacking beautifully on so many different avenues. I certainly resonated with what you shared about, connecting with your team. I'm actually gearing up and preparing to connect with my team in Eastern North Carolina, as this was the week we've been waiting
Tell
for.
them about it. Tell them about it.
Where Black Girl Magic Market and Shemekka have been awarded a collective grant for our proposal with NC Idea Foundation and Wells Fargo.
Woo! Yay!
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, God. I proposed a collective approach to bringing resources and support to Eastern North Carolina entrepreneurs. And what was incredible is that I was able to pose a team of us working together. So Genesis Block Foundation, we also have Array CDC as well as DG McGee Enterprises, all coming together with intention to provide resources specifically and with cohorts directed towards building capacity for high growth potential for Black female entrepreneurs across Eastern North Carolina. And so we're happy to open up this opportunity throughout this year with events, experiences, virtual and in person, that is going to build up meeting entrepreneurs where they are and helping them scale and to become that high growth revenue generating entity that they imagined when they first started to dream about entrepreneurship. So I am super excited and honored. And I have been building up my team. We're going on a leadership retreat this coming week, and we're going to be really, we're doing a working retreat to really help us navigate and be intentional and strategic in how we pour our energy and love and resources and expertise all over Eastern North Carolina to help build up rural North Carolina to be a strong entity in the entrepreneurship arena.
Whoa, I am so
Yes.
impressed with all that. So I just want to say, phenomenal congratulations to you, Black Girl Magic Market,
Thank you.
all the team of women that have come together, and that's the thing, collaboration.
And we get to give money away.
That's
We're
it.
giving awards away. Let me not forget that. Yes, we're working together. Yes, we're giving resources, but we are putting our money where our mouth is, and we're not just trying to teach you something. We're trying to give you all the aspects of what you need to have a equitable start to being successful at your business. I just had to throw that in there.
Well, that is amazing. So I mean, tell us more. I know, I mean, you've had a week this week, so I mean,
So yes. And with that, we are going to be launching starting April 1st. We are creating and opening up registration now for the virtual business accountability and growth group. So if you've had my get in my bag summons that I had a couple of years back, we're bringing it back. We are getting into our bag. We're setting goals, we're reaching them, and we're using a peer support model to do that. So make sure you go to Shemekka.com, go to the Black Girl Magic Market section, register your business if you haven't already, or look for the post in Black Girl Magic Market group on Facebook or Meta, and make sure you register your business, especially if you are a business that is working or living inside of rural North Carolina and Eastern North Carolina. We have specific intention on pouring the things you need and making it accessible. And with that, so we're kicking off the virtual bag coming up in April. Then we got from conversations to contracts coming up in May. Then we have our mental Wealth and Money Talks brunch in June. So we have stuff that is rolling out. So make sure you're connected with us on social media. Make sure that you set your business up to be registered and recognized so that you can get in on this access to resources and support and get the funding support you need as we give out these awards to rural entrepreneurs in Eastern North Carolina.
All right, Shemekka. So at this moment, I'm gonna say something very simple, and I always mispronounce it, but I'm gonna try it. Hakuna Matata. Wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. We did that. We did that. We did that. We didn't even rehearse that, y'all. We didn't rehearse that. So this is our way of saying shout out to the Brilliant Bunch. Shout out to my son Chi. He had a phenomenal Broadway experience in our town, in our community. He was able to get with schools from all across the whole county, and he was able to be in a performance with his school, and he did such a phenomenal job.
He led an awesome uh part with that song Hakuna Matata, so that's why we're able to be able to flow with that so easily. We are so proud of what Chi Alexander has been able to accomplish, who he has become. His character speaks for him. His art was also featured as well at an art exhibit at the Broadway experience. So he is just glowing in his talents, and his brilliance is manifesting in so many ways, and we are so proud of him. So we that was how we were both stacking this week, is going to support him, taking his little brother to see him as well, letting him get that experience to know that we're going to be there for him when he has school things too, to celebrate him, to let these children know, these teachers know they have parents that care. So it was so full of intention, but also full of celebration when we had the opportunity to celebrate our son in these ways.
And we definitely, as always, we will have some content on
Yes,
the Brilliant Bunch platform on YouTube. We're gonna get back to
absolutely.
TikTok. We're gonna get back to the Instagram. We're gonna make sure that you have content because the Brilliant Bunch, they have so much phenomenal talent. I'm so grateful for the way that our sons are growing, how we raised our first cohort of children. For people who know me and
Yes.
Shemekka, a blended family, and we have teenagers and we have young kids. These are our start over again kids, and we are
That's
definitely
right.
putting them in a position that they just continue to gather new skills and talents to be able to develop themselves and have all the opportunities possible. It doesn't matter if it's performing for a Broadway play or learning coding, mathematics skills. We're making sure that they have a range of possibilities and they don't know they're limitless. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Brilliant Bunch is limitless. They do things all the time, little trick things. I mean, it's amazing what we're seeing their talents evolve into. So I'm grateful to be here as a father, supporting my sons and just really seeing them grow. And again, Shemekka, phenomenal, preparation as a mother, always getting things together to make sure our sons are in position to win. So I
Thank
just
you.
want to give you a shout out before we transition.
Yes, and another shout out too. I'm so excited that today is the day that the Be Lifted Up interview that I did with Miss the
Okay,
Great,
okay.
the wonderful, the awesome, the instrumental mentor, Mr. Alfred Edmond Jr.,
Yeah, shout out to
the
Mr. Edmund
success
Jr.
spurt. Yeah, so I was featured on, had the opportunity to speak with him on Be Lifted Up, which is a podcast that comes on. You can find it on Sirius. You can also find it on the Mocha Network. Definitely check it out. It was very powerful. I got a chance to lift up while I'm getting naked, but also looking at justice, leadership, and thinking about community development, like what that looks like from theory to practice based on my career and my lived experience expertise.
And for those who are newcomers to the show, While I'm Getting Naked is a book. It's a book. So we just want to make sure as we know we're growing our listeners.
While I'm getting naked.com.
Yes, if you haven't heard about it, Shemekka is an author as well as the prettiest woman in the world. And I
Mhm.
definitely am grateful that she was able to have a chance to be on a platform to really enhance her voice and tell her story. And that one interview led to a greater interaction in regards to leading us to the women's Women of Power event in Las Vegas with Black Enterprise. So it was phenomenal how it all came together. I'm excited for the
Absolutely.
world to hear this interview and the nuggets that were shared in it. And again, this is it, right? This is what Sunday Stacks is here to do, and we're always here to uplift you and making sure that you leave with a little bit of wisdom. And as the old saying goes, you leave a little bit better as before you started the listening. So
Yes.
with that, I know you about to give us some of them gems.
So, in the spirit of Be Lifted Up, being a faith-based podcast, I think it's so timely that we'll just shift right into the our Soulful Sunday segment, where we look at a way, opportunity, something that happened with us this week that we want to tap in and kind of fill your cup as well. And so we were actually in a grocery store, grocery shopping, and happened to run up on a register of a lady that was talking to us and sharing this just out of random conversation. We learned that like she is surviving stage 3 kidney disease, and that she had her kidney shut down and she's walking. Like, so if you don't understand the power of that, you must know that she is a miracle walker. And in our conversation and hearing this powerful testimony that she had, she asked us this question of, why do some people not have God in their lives? She couldn't understand why. And we both, like in unison, Michael and I look at each other. And when we look back at her and we say, God is there with them too. And that God is like air. We know it's there. We take it for granted until we realize we need it to survive.
Mhm.
And if you haven't had your prayer-like moment with God, it will come to you, because we all have the pleasure of understanding the power of humbling ourselves when we don't want to listen and do right. And that humbling experience will remind you that air is a privilege and not a guarantee, especially when you need it and don't have it. So we can't ignore it when we have it and don't feel like we need it.
I love it. I love it. And I think with that experience, it was something that it made me in the moment as you spoke of, where we looked at each other and it was just like us saying the same thing, like, God does not need us to believe in God for God to be real. I think I want to
Hmm.
make that as clear
That's
as I
so
can.
good.
God does not need you to believe in him for you then to know that he is real. And the
Hmm.
same way air doesn't need you to believe whether or not you believe air is necessary or not. Try to hold your breath too long and see how good that works out for you. God does not need you to believe in him for him to be real, but for God to be active in your life. That belief, that faith, that walking to serve changes everything about life for you. And I think that's the part that we want people to grasp in this, is that you are missing. I think I said this to the lady in this scenario, that people are missing out on an inheritance that is
Hmm.
rightfully yours. To know that it was not the parents that we want to blame for everything that created us, but there was a living God that knew that your existence was necessary for so many different catalysts that we can't even fathom to count.
Hmm.
If you are existing, you have won the lottery of life.
Thank you, God.
And it is so neglectful for us not to live this life. And I think this is the part that we're really trying to show, is that, yes, the air is there, but you got to choose to breathe it.
Hmm.
So I'm going to let you know, what's your thoughts on that, Shemekka?
I think it's so yummy. Like when we think about how much we take air for granted, right? Uh, but when we are feeling like we're losing it, we start hyperventilating, anxiety kicking, anxiety, hyperventilating. Those are reminders of you are not that in control that you don't need God. Like this reminds you, this breaks down the illusion of self-made so quickly for us. And so even those that you may be praying for or care about, that you feel like they don't believe in God, or maybe they're even self-professed atheists, I've had the pleasure of talking with an atheist before, and she had so much wisdom and nuggets to share, and it was so good. And the important part of her, whether she believed in God or not, it didn't stop God from activating and keeping her alive. She was well seasoned in her 70s at the gym working. So she had a routine and an operation and a strategy that is keeping her here. And for me, even in that season, it wasn't a time to feel like I had to convict her and convert her to God to believe and declare that Jesus is her savior. Uh, I believe in that moment she needed to meet a believer that wasn't going to judge her for where she was in her moment and how she lived life and experienced it. But I very much felt the knowledge and awareness and significance of God in her life. She may call it something different. I know what I saw and I know what I witnessed. And it seems like that same thing when we feel like we've lost hope on those that are around us because we feel like they don't know God like we do, or you were judging their relationship with how far along they should be. We have to recenter ourselves and recheck our judgments and how we are evaluating because we all have our own testimony. And so when we think about this Soulful Sunday segment, don't get to the point that you've gotten so disconnected to God that he has to give you a reboot or a recharge all the time because you're not holding your own charge enough. But the more you spend time with the creator, the more infilled you'll get, the more it'll be in overflow, the easier it will be to allow that light to shine through you to other people that may or may not recognize or acknowledge God. We This is how we can refuel ourselves, and when we don't. And I think I need God every day, but for those
Mm.
that feel like they don't, uh, may there be a light around you that can recharge you in the season that you need it, so that you can remember who you are and begin again, so that you can go forth in who you're called to be.
I love these perspectives that you're offering us in this topic. And this is just making me kind of open up to some vulnerability because lately I've been going through my season of the L. And I don't even know if y'all know what the season of the L is, right? So my name is Mike L. And for those who know anything about our work, is that we really hone in on what a name means. And Michael means who is like God. And I think for me, I'm really honing into that L side of my name to really create a transformation because I've been running from something, Shemekka, and this is my honest truth in the midst of what we're building in family, community, and company. And I'm a great business owner. I'm growing my business. I've taken my strides. I've tried to take a unique approach to business where I'm not chasing investors, I'm not chasing loans, but I am truly building something strong with the people that can create great value. And with this approach, I've always been centered around ministry, faith in God and what he's calling me to do. And even I've even tried my hand at making music and growing. I've been a rapper for a little bit. I've been all kind of different kind of musicians in my approach,
Mhm.
but something that I had this unique prayer in the midst of it, it was me saying to God, "Hey God, I hope one day I can make some great music, make a great song." And God said, You know who I gave the power of the music to, right?" He said, then the light came. It was like Jesus talking to me, and he was like, "I want you to know the word. I want you to rest in the word." And this is something that has been persistent coming in my life to say, hey, it is time for us to really step into what God is calling us to do. And I don't know
Mhm.
for those out there that feel like you try to ignore the calling. You clearly hear God's voice. You clearly understand Jesus and his presence and the Holy Spirit. And you understand how to minister amongst people even when you don't want to, but you try to hold back. So I'm giving this to Sunday Stacks in this segment because I want to make sure even when I come back and listen to this, that I know God put an assignment on my life. And this is a new reminder for myself that
Thank you,
there's
God.
time for me to get out of the foolishness and get into the word in a way that brings people's hearts to a new standard. And that's what we're here to do with I Am Brilliant, Sunday Stacks, everything we're out here producing. We're trying to bring people's hearts to a new standard. And that standard is going to bring such prosperity to family, community, and company. So I thank you, Shemekka, for giving us
Mhm.
such a perspective this Soulful Sunday and allowing me to share my heart with the people.
Oh, that is so powerful. Thank you so much for your nakedness, as we like to say in these streets, of being able to see an opportunity to grow, share that with others. And I hope that you wonderful, awesome, amazing listeners, first of all, thank you. And as we think about how we create this show and this place to feed your spirit and soul. We also give you the things to help you guard against the distractions that may come. And in that component is the well known Whiz
Whiz
of
of
the
the week.
Week.
Yes, yes, yes. The whiz of the week. The whiz is back. This is our most popular segment just because it goes against what we stand. We don't like to get people caught up in distractions, but we have to acknowledge that the distractions do come. And so, just like that famous movie, The Wiz, every week there's a new color that people say they got to go follow. And we provide that whiz of the week. And this week has been all over the place. I mean, we've had everything from government shutdowns to the student loans. And we wanted to pose a unique question to the audience because with all of this Department of Education shutdown, I've seen several debates, and we all know there's some TikTok scholars out there. But we wanted to know the Department of Education, if it's being shut down, are loans gone? Are student loans now no longer really a valid contract anymore because the department that was supposed to enforce it, or can that be shuffled around and some new department is now supposed to handle that? And we have to look at all of the promises that have been made from previous administrations till now. For those who were looking for forgivenesses, there's a lot at stake, y'all. So we can't ignore it. And again, they just got through a government. They just kept the lights on just a little bit longer. They play this game every. It's called kick the can down the aisle until that date comes, and then they got to do the same foolishness. What is going on out here, Shemekka, with these
Mhm.
wizards? You got any opinion on this stuff?
Well, I hope that, like, with all seriousness, I have plenty of student loans. And I'm just saying, if the Department of Education is shutting down, then so should my obligation to have to pay those student loans back. So I am all for it if it gets people a reboot and a restart to get this burden of financial hardship of paying 3 to 5 times our cost for education than we have to with having to repay these loans. And then I'll also say, with the government shutdown, it does sound like that this is intentional and part of strategy because the false savior would make you want to think that things are going to be fixed. I'm going to let it be broken and reboot. And so the positive thing that I pull out of this, and I've shared this with a lot of my scholars, especially when we talk about this equity work, how we show up in spaces, and there's a nice saying that goes around: you can't, you can't destroy the master's house with the dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. And so I say that to this in this season, we see someone inside the quote unquote master's house dismantling stuff that we could not have done by ourselves. But guess what? You didn't have to catch a charge for it. You didn't have to go protest and get arrested or get maced or eyeballed. You didn't have to do anything that could have put you at risk. Now, what you're going to do with this new start? What are you going to do with this new beginning? Before you get distracted with Wizard of the Week, if this is the time, if this is your open door to get your student loans erased or forgotten, or for those, shout out to the Department of Education workers, like go out with a blast and just hit delete on a whole bunch of people's like that's a good old smack in the face.
Now that's a,
It's like
that's just a suggestion.
make those student loans be erased in Jesus. So that's what I feel about it. Yes, some of these things are coming to be grab our attention, but just know that there's so many things going on the back end that we just can't get distracted by. So if there is an open door for you to continue to dispute and bring attention to the forgiveness of your student loans, do that. And understand that in this time, in this season where all these distractions are happening, you got to prepare for the long game, especially for income repayment agreements and like staggered, delayed, deferred, forbearance, all those things that kind of kept those payments from hitting. You need to be having a plan on how you're going to cover yourself and your family in the event that all of it comes due at one time and you can't make a back arrangement, because in this confusing time all kinds of things could happen that we just need to be prepared for, by being ready to do what we have to do to address it in a way that is going to be helpful for you, of course, but also understanding that it's just chaotic. So don't hold on to any promises without getting it in writing. Go back and read your promissory notes so you can see, have an attorney review your promissory notes and say, has there been any violation, even with Doge going in there? Has there been a violation of your privacy that could release you from the liability of holding on to this? So that's all I got to say about that.
I mean, that was some mic drop level wisdom, though. I mean, we gotta shout it out. So, I mean, with that, we would love to always stay here and give you more of this wisdom. I want to make sure that you keep continuing to tune in to Sunday Stacks. If you want to hit replay on this episode, feel free. Please like and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, we
Yes.
definitely need it. Tell a friend to tell a friend that you just heard something that was outstanding called Sunday Stacks, and they need to know about this podcast here as we continue to grow. We're going to continue to give our week to week perspective on what life looks like for us. And we want to continue to give perspective on what the world's distractions are. So, therefore, you can stay focused on what you really can control, which is loving your God and your family, community, and company, and growing to a level like you never grew before because we're all about getting better here. So, I am Michael Stewart-Isaacs. Please follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Michael Stewart-Isaacs. You can also find me on Michael Stewart-Isaacs on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. All social media is Michael Stewart Isaac. So, and definitely check out my music on any of the platforms, Apple Music. You can just say, hey, Siri, play Michael Stewart Isaacs, and it will do that. Hopefully, don't do it now on the radio show, but definitely please feel free to do that. And Shemekka, you got any last words for the people?
Absolutely. We are gearing up again for the working retreat. So just be on the lookout for mental wealth and money talks. We're going to be having working retreats. We're going to be having brunches. It's all going to lead up to, again, I say the Shemekka
Shemekka
Summit.
Summit.
So we want to tap in, connect with you. Look, check us out on social media. If you are not listening to us on a live podcast network, know that there is a podcast community for Black creatives to get their word out and what they're doing. So we're on that platform as well as on YouTube, and we have some really great things that are coming up for our virtual and in person. Yeah, we came back from Vegas last week and already got bookings to go back out to Vegas again. So our
That's right.
schedule is getting busy. If you are thinking about us or considering us for your events to speak, facilitate, do keynotes or motivation and inspiration, do not wait till the last minute to come find us. Go ahead and let's have a conversation now. Because by the time you may be thinking of coming around, our schedule may be packed. And I just want to say that not in any rude or disrespectful way. We want you. We want to connect with you, but just know that things are being tightened up on our end, and we are being very mindful and careful of our engagements and where our commitments lead us because we understand to go where we're invited also means that we're valued and honored when we are there, and we're going to bring value to wherever we are. And so we're excited about that and how this year's tour continues to grow. So check us out on ShemekkaEbony.com if you want to book that discovery call. Be sure to follow Black Girl Magic Market and the upcoming resources, especially with this business accountability group. I am looking for at least 10 that are looking to spend some time with me on a monthly basis over 3 months, working on your goal and getting your strategy to get there. And then we're going to help give you we're going to award your efforts of being committed to that and get you some resources for your business. If you're out of Eastern North Carolina, we got you. So make sure you register your business and get on board for that April 1st Spring Business Accountability and Growth Group.
I love it. I love it. Again, StewartIsaacs.com. That's Stewart-Isaacs, ISAACS.com. You can book us, book myself for any speaking engagements. Definitely looking for men's groups, youth groups, anything that's about empowerment, anything about entrepreneurship. I'm your guy. Definitely looking forward to coming out there and sharing some wisdom with you all to continue to help you grow. So, Shemekka, with that, we will go ahead and get ready to sign off. As always, we like to remind these people that I
I
am
am
brilliant
brilliant,
and
and you
you
are
are
too.
too. Thank you again for joining this edition of Sunday Stacks, and we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week. Peace.